Talkin' Country.
You're listening to Talkin' Country with Paul Taylor.
Hi, welcome to my channel, Talking Country, where we'll be chatting to the stars of country music from around the world, whether it's in Nashville, Australia, UK, Ireland. You'll get it here first. If you like us, subscribe and give us the big thumbs up. Hopefully you enjoy it.
Some mistakes that I had to live with, but no one ever understands that I never got the chance to get through this. My life's been a winding one-way street, full of one-night stands and barroom seats. The devil's railroad I've been on for some time. Maybe I should walk the line. Why'd I always take it too far? I'm ready to tell you what my secrets are, 'cause I'm sitting alone at the end of this bar, saying my prayers. Some Tennessee whiskey helps to numb the pain. No matter what I do, I feel the same. Wake up in the morning trying to break these chains. Here comes the rain. I lie awake at night, I picture it all as I'm tossing and turning. Only I could see the light, but the candle at both ends is a burning. Lord, why'd I always take it too far? I'm ready to tell you what my secrets are, 'cause I'm sitting alone at the end of this bar, saying my prayers. Tennessee whiskey helps to numb the pain. No matter what I do, I feel the same. Wake up in the morning trying to break these chains. Here comes the rain. If I could just go back in time, I'd fix it all, and you'd pick up the phone whenever I call. Lord, why'd I always take it too far? I'm ready to tell you what my secrets are, 'cause I'm sitting alone at the end of this bar, saying my prayers. Some Tennessee whiskey helps to numb the pain. No matter what I do, I feel the same. Wake up in the morning trying to break these chains. Here comes the rain. Here comes the rain. Here comes the rain.
Well, folks, that was a great song called Here Comes the Rain, and it's by Chris Andreucci.
You nailed it right there.
I nailed it. I had to ask him just before we went on. I was panicking a bit with my pronunciations, but he's in Nashville, but he comes all the way from Ayr in Scotland. How you doing, mate?
I'm good, Paul. Thanks very much for having me on the show.
No, it's my pleasure, mate. I know things are busy and I think lockdown's easing a lot, I've been told, over in Nashville. So, but it's a great EP as well. I mean, it's been re-released, obviously, because of COVID last year. But there's a story, there's like a concept behind it as well. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so Here Comes the Rain is the first track in the EP. And, you know, that was the first single that ever came out. And, you know, I was expecting to go on tour, go and play shows, go and interact with audiences. But, you know, all of a sudden COVID-19 happened and shook the world. It still has shook has the world shaken? And so I spoke with my manager, and now that things are starting to look a bit more positive, we decided to re-release What Don't Kill You. And it's an EP. Essentially, it was birthed in the fires of an American trip almost 3 years ago now. I went out there on exchange to North Carolina with my university, and I loved it. I was experiencing all this new stuff, meeting new people and a new way of life, and just how, the American college experience. And I was writing songs around that, those experiences. And it was just really cool to recreate, that into music. Yeah. And then when you release it, I was hoping other people could relate to it. It's love stories, heartbreak stories, songs about having a good time, remembering things, and all of a sudden having to, promote it through a camera, through Facebook, Instagram Live. It just wasn't the same. So yeah, as I said, now that things are opening up again, I've got some things lined up, and I'm excited to see what the rest of the year has planned, and also moving into 22.
I know, because you got good people around you. I mean, I think one of the key things, I was speaking to another young artist yesterday, Manny Blue, and he was telling me about, surrounding himself with the right people and again, that support, whether it's a musical support, family or friend support. I mean, would you concur with that?
Definitely. I've been, my family, especially my parents, have been really supportive of what I do, and I probably wouldn't be sat here in Nashville, Tennessee, without that support as well. Yeah. But even coming out here, it's it's always a musical hub, and it's where country music was birthed, and where it flourishes. But that's definitely a big part of it. Being surrounded with like-minded people, creative geniuses, that I get to go and sit in rooms with every day and write songs, and pitch songs to other artists and try and get them synced into television and Netflix and things like that. So that's been a great asset to me coming out here and developing my own craft as a songwriter and as an artist. But yeah, I definitely agree with what Manny said.
And regarding writing as well, I mean, you're more or less a songwriter of your own songs. I mean, do you get in around with other people and get co-writes?
Yeah, so I've spent most of my time here since I've been in Nashville, which has almost been 2.5 months now, is I'm writing about 4 or 5 co-writes a week.
Wow.
I'm playing in a lot of rounds. I try and play about 2 or 3 rounds a week. And it's just a great experience. I went from only co-writing every now and then to essentially saving all my tags and all my all my lines that I really know through trivial things in life, and taking them straight into a co-write with people that I enjoy writing with, because you'd be a bit daft not to tap into the talent in this town.
Yeah, I mean, who are the key people that you've been bouncing ideas off? I mean, is there anybody you can share with us?
Yeah, so Porchlight Music is a publisher in town, and before I hadn't really worked with them. I'd only heard of them, and within my first week I started hanging with a few of them, and I got invited into the rooms with them. So there's William Michael Morgan.
Oh wow, yeah.
He's part of their. He just signed with Porchlight as one of their hit writers. But I've been writing with Ryan Garrett, John Haywood. These guys are just really amazing people to surround yourself with. There's a guy called Clint Daniels. He wrote Broken Heartsville that Joe Nichols released.
Yeah.
So one of the co-writers on it. So after a week or two of kind of surrounding yourself with these people, the excitement of it wears off, and you can get to actually pick their brains and find out a little bit more about the process, and and just they're all down to earth people. So that's what I loved about it, and it's just made me love what I do even more.
And are they very sort of welcoming? Because obviously somebody from Scotland coming in, did he understand you?
I tell you what, they understood me till after a few beers.
Oh my days. I mean, I must admit, here in Scotland, I've only ever been once when I was a young boy, and I went to Butlins. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's not far. That's actually not far from where my family house is. So
yeah,
we are.
I mean, I've worked for like my day job, and obviously I'm an artist myself, extensively in Scotland over the years, and covered pretty much every part of Scotland apart from the north of Aberdeen. I didn't go that far. I thought, no, it's too far. It's just too far, you know. But it's such a great and hive of entertainment as well, and music and country music as well, isn't it? I mean, have you ever played the Opry in Glasgow?
I haven't, no, but I actually didn't know there was one there until just before COVID hit, and then someone was saying, "Oh, you should try and get in there." So maybe on my return back to the UK.
Yeah, they've started up. Yeah, I know. Got friends who started up again, and apparently they're a brilliant crowd. And I've never been. Actually, I was one of the companies I work for in Glasgow, and it was just over the Clyde, and I never got chance to go because it was always like Friday, Saturday, Sundays. They were open all Friday, Saturdays, and I was on my way home. You know, I was on the way drive down back home, so I'd never actually got to do it. But some of my colleagues have been there and they said it's such an amazing place. So it's that could be a video shoot.
Yeah, it's definitely a bucket list for me to play that, and obviously the big one out here, the Ryman, or even the Opry.
You don't want to do that. Well, you want to go to the one in Glasgow. No, I mean I must have been. I've not been to Nashville myself. I should be there now because it was my birthday a few weeks ago, but it was on my bucket list. But I hate the magical 6-0, and I thought, right, bucket list. I've got to go to, anyway, it'll be next year now. I would imagine, but obviously you're surrounding yourself with the right people, but you're surrounding yourself with some great musicians as well, aren't you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, this town it's filled with talent, that makes it a great place to be, also a difficult place to be. You've got to know how to differentiate yourself. For me, you walk down Broadway, and a lot of us writers, we don't hang down there. That's just where the tourist goes. If you want to go and make a little bit of cash, you can go down there and play. But you walk down Broadway and everyone looks the same. They've got a baseball cap on, a beard, and a checkered shirt. So that was the first thing someone said to me, was like, don't fall into that bracket straight away. Differentiate yourself. And I think definitely being not from America, people are interested in me just a little bit more. Yeah. They're just like, that's really cool what he's doing. And I know another couple of British artists out here and songwriters that I've, met and spoken with, and they're doing something really against the grain as well. And it's just great to see other people out here doing what they love and actually, doing quite well with it.
And it's that standout in the crowd kind of thing, isn't it, with the music? Because you can fall into the tailgates and beer and checkered shirts, baseball cap kind of thing, And obviously listening to your music, there is a lot of elements in that stand out, So, and again, it's not American or Canadian. Oh, right, okay, and it's great, and it stands right up with some of the great stuff out there already at the moment.
Well, thanks very much. I appreciate that.
Yeah. So, how did it all start for you? What made you sort of pick up a guitar or piano? Are you a guitarist?
Yeah, I play guitar, play piano, and sing.
Yeah. So, I mean, what was the sort of light bulb moment for you to go, right?
I've got to kind of give credit to my dad. We always had a great musical education when growing up. We listened to everything from old 50s, 60s stuff from Hardy Robbins to modern day bands, Biffy Clyro. But I loved our favorite artist together was Bruce Springsteen. We've got him live, and that Born to Run album for me is probably the best rock album ever made, in my opinion. Yeah. And we listened to David Bowie, we listened to everything. And I don't know, obviously country was throughout that whole time as well. Willie Nelson, I loved listening to Chris Christopherson. And when I first started writing music, I was probably about 13. I wrote my first song. Wow. I don't know how good it was, but it was a song. I actually co-wrote it with my cousin. We did before we even knew what it all was, And because of the music at the time, it was kind of indie rock. That's the route we went. I started a few bands up. We played for years right through school, and then I went to university in Glasgow. And like it often does, we all went our different ways. And I thought, I went to do business at university, and I thought the whole time, I was like, well, I can't just give up and not, because that was the only way I could really express myself was music. It's always been that way. Yeah. I know that's quite a cliche thing to say, but for an artist, but so I just kept writing. And as I was writing more and more, I just found it, maybe it was with age that I was able to, I found that with country music, I could really express myself in the right way. And I started playing a little bit around just in a few bars, and people started getting a bit of a following. And I thought, well, let's make a go of a kind of solo venture. And then, as I said, when I went on exchange in my third year at university, I had the opportunity to play in Nashville. I played in Nashville once and then decided to go on a tour after it. But when I played in Nashville, I was fortunate enough to have Century Music Group in the crowd that night, and they made me to a pub deal that a couple of days after. So it was a great experience.
a lot of it is, I would say, no, I wouldn't say a lot of it is. I mean, because you've got to have a God-given talent, but there is that element to push you over the line of luck.
Mm-hmm.
Is it being in the right place at the right time, everything coming together, the voice is okay, you're not hungover, the voice hasn't gone, the PA's all set up correctly, the atmosphere is cool, good vibe from the crowd. And it's like put it in the mixer, mix it all in, and then somebody in the audience being, from a label or a publishing company. And
yeah, it's definitely that's definitely part of it. I feel like one thing, I've come out to Nashville on and off for 2 years, but been back here now, I realise more than ever, I think it's because of COVID, that we weren't really mingling and hanging around with many people. But coming back out here, this is a networking town. It's just like business, right? Yeah. So in business, everyone's good. Everyone's kind of good at what they do, right? Everyone's great at what they do out here. So you've got to hang around. You've got to be in the right place at the right time. That can be difficult sometimes. I've found that, you don't know when to stay in and not go out. You don't know when to just go and watch a gig or go and play a gig. My dad came out to visit, and we were saying, you sometimes have to chain yourself to your bed so you can't go out, because it's so, you could do something every night in Nashville. Yeah. But as I said, networking's a big part of it, and you're hanging around. Once you get into the right circle, you get introduced to people all the time. Chris Young was in the bar with us the other day.
Wow.
Trey Lewis, the guy that did Dick Down in Dallas, he's out here. John Pardy was hanging around Division Street the other day. So you're hanging around with really cool, talented songwriters that have got #1s and CMAs and things like that. So it's really cool.
It's quite interesting, really, because I get emails here and there, and one particular chap, and we've become very good friends. Actually, he's due to come on in a couple of weeks again. And he sent me an email and saying, "Oh, I've been listening to this show, love it." I thought, "Oh, great!" On Facebook, he's a Facebook friend. And next minute he says, "Oh, will you play these?" And he named about 5 or 6 songs, like "It Matters to Me," Faith Hill, "Be My Baby Tonight," John Michael Montgomery. How about them Cowgirls, etc., etc. And another a song what I absolutely love, Luke Bryan, and Most People Are Good. Mm-hmm. And I went, yeah, absolutely. He said, "I'd love to hear these on the radio again, because I don't get much airplay what I listen to over here." I said, "Why are you in America?" He said, "Oh, yeah. I said, "What's the significance of them?" He said, "I wrote them. It was Ed Hill."
Oh, wow.
I went, so I'm Googling going, "Who's Ed Hill?" Oh, okay. Yeah. And I said, "Would you like to come on the show?" He said, "Really?" I said, "Please." And he sent me this. Yeah, I've got it here. His autobiography.
Superb.
And we become such great friends. And it was just, and I just said, "Listen, do you want to come back on?" He said, "Yep, absolutely." But it's just like, yeah, I wrote them. It's like,
that's it. That's the thing. I mean, a lot of people you're meeting here, that I'm meeting anyway, we hang around Midtown. We don't really go downtown, but everyone that you're meeting is down to earth people, great guys who have the time that they give you the time of day. There's no ego, and it's great. And before you know it, they've had 5 George Strait cuts, Joe Nickel cuts, and you're just kind of stood there going, wow, just to be in the same in the presence of these kind of people is just amazing.
But it's good but I mean, even just being in that presence, it gives you that impetus for your own songwriting. And I mean, like, I've wrote a few songs and bits and bobs, but it's only when you start listening to people like yourself and others. And again, another great guy who again's coming on next week, Kent Blasey, came on the show. And it's like, if tomorrow never comes. And it was like, Garth Brooks has basically said recently, without Kent, Garth wouldn't be Garth, because he got knocked back by pretty much everybody in town. And it was Kent saying, "Come on, we're going to write this, we're going to rewrite this." And then since I've been starting interviewing people on the radio, it's that, okay, that's your song, that's your artist, but it's the periphery, it's the management, it's the publishers, it's the songwriters, and it's those cogs around the engine, so the musical engine, that is significant. And I've took a great interest in songwriting more and more since then.
Oh, definitely. It's one of those, it's an industry that you can't do it. You can't do it on your own. You just can't. The problem is there's a lot of people out there to try and, catch you out and maybe do you dirty. But it's about, you've got to be present in it. You've got to be, face to face with people. You've got to be interacting with people, and you've just got to be, one thing that I've realized is you have to be your genuine true self.
Yeah.
If you've got any facade in front of you, especially in Nashville, people see it straight away.
Yeah.
And you get one chance a lot of the time in Nashville, and if you mess that up, things don't go as planned. So it's about just being there, being present, and just being yourself, and believing in yourself enough that it's not going to be, that you're not come across as cocky, but believing in yourself just for your own sake. That one thing I struggled with a little bit was when I first came over here was, do I have a right to be in this room co-writing with these guys? And that's one thing that it took me a while to realize. That I was like, yeah, okay, I do. And it was just speaking to other songwriters that they were like, that's just part of the process, and once you realize that, there's no nerves anymore going into these rooms, and it's just a great feeling to open up and be vulnerable with other people, because that's what songwriting's all about. Essentially, opening up. And
it is, and yeah, I mean, what would you say your favorite venue you've played at since you started your career?
In general,
yeah, anywhere.
I'm always going to say King Tut's Wabba Hut or the Glasgow Royal Concert Hall. I mean, I've played some cool places, but there's just something about Glasgow that I love. I went to university there, and great history, and being Scottish, and you also get a good pint of Tennent's obviously there.
I've played, and I've worked extensively in Glasgow. I know it like the back of my hand. Not been there for several years because I've not worked, not been in a position to go up there. But I used to do quite a few gigs, and one of them used to be on a Sunday night in Linwood. Now, Linwood was the Rangers, the Rangers supporters club, and at the time. I had a duo, and I didn't realize it was a Canadian duo. So I at the time, called Blue Rodeo, and we called ourselves Blue Rodeo Duo just to get out of the, the legal ramifications. So we turned up, and we had these blue shirts, and they wanted to have these shirts. I said, no. I said, they cost us a fortune. I'll give them as like our Rangers things, I was like, oh my God, my days. But such lovely, lovely people. Just found out it's actually one of the main people, and they just sadly passed. But all around Scotland, you'll find these little nuggets of clubs. There was a great one in Dundee as well, and it's just nice, isn't it? And again, it all comes back to like Glasgow, isn't it? And Edinburgh, and it surprised me though, because I thought to myself, oh, he'll pick on, something in Nashville, but no, you've gone, which is cool. Yeah,
I've played some cool places out here, and been on the rounds with some really well-respected songwriters and things like that. But as much as I love spending time out here and I love working here, Glasgow and Scotland and Ayer's always, so it's always going to be home, for me.
And how often do you, obviously COVID aside, how often do you go backwards and forwards?
So I had a visa for a while, and then it expired. So when COVID happened, I got stuck back in the UK. So I'm out here. I come back home next month, and then I apply for a new visa again, just at the tail end of the year. And I should have that for 3 years. So I'll probably come home once or twice a year back to the UK, and hopefully we can have full-blown gigs. No capacity limitations. And I'm looking forward to, because I feel like, now that I've been out here, I feel for you guys. I feel like things need to get back to normal as soon as possible.
Yeah, they started to lift a little bit over here, and like I say, cinemas are now open, and and I was explaining to some of the other artists over there, and they said, "Oh, how's things over there?" So we're on full lockdown, for like 4 months, can't do nothing, but now it's eased off, and I think I've got my first gig in June. I'm like, need to practice.
No, well, that was one thing, that it took me a while to adapt to the live stream kind of aspect of performance over the last year, almost year and a half, because that's also different, just having to stare at a camera. But then when I came back out here, it was also a weird experience to go and start performing again,
Wow.
So, but we got there. It was a 1 or 2 gigs, and then I was feeling good.
So if you was a brand new artist, I'd say brand new artist, but say you're an artist and you're wanting basically follow your footsteps in respect, because they are great footsteps to follow, because you've gone from, like I say, humble background in Scotland, and now chipping away and mixing with the great and good. So what would you advise?
It's a tough one, because for me, I was fortunate enough to be, kind of guided through the route of going to university first as well. So I would definitely, I would also always have a plan B of some kind, just to be safe, because I feel like, especially what I was maybe naive when I first came out here, but it's tough as hell, right? Everyone's good. So you've got to have a plan B, but also goddamn believe in yourself, because if you don't, you're never gonna make it. So work hard, treat it as a job, work every day. I get up at 9 o'clock in the morning, I go to the gym, and I do admin and marketing in the morning, and then I'll have a co-write, and I'll often play a gig at night. And yeah, have fun, enjoy it. It's that music industry, but treat it as a job, believe in yourself, and give it a go for a set period of time. Because if you don't give it that go, you're never going to know. So give it a go, and then if it doesn't pay off, there might be another avenue that opens up. But then you've always got the plan B if worse comes to worse. But I think believing in yourself is a big part of it, and it took me even a while to kind of wrap my head around that, and and that's something that came in the last kind of year or so of my career anyway.
Yeah, and I think that it's a common theme with everybody. It's that, obviously, including in that, is tenacity as well.
Mm-hmm.
That being tenacious attitude to get yourself up when you do get the knockbacks, because you do get knockbacks. Don't you? I mean, it's people
That's
think
Yeah, it's essentially, that's part of the industry. I think if someone said you were great, and you were great, and said yes to you every time, you'd become a bit of a, I don't know, we're not going to curse on here, but you become a bit of a cocky person, and that's never going to get you anywhere. So yeah, you've got to have some strength, essentially mental strength, definitely.
Yeah, unbelievable. I mean, the level I'm at, you go to these festivals and you think to yourself, you're quite a group of you going on during the day, and there are so many people who are, say, cocksure of themselves, a bit cocky. I'm thinking, why are you like that? And a lot of people don't like him. They go, I don't like him, and I don't like it. I like getting out, meeting people, having a chat, and where are you from? What kind of music do you like? And they remember you. You might have a really bad night, something might go wrong, but because you've actually been warm to somebody, they remember that, rather than somebody goes, I ain't talking to anybody, I'm not giving an encore, I'm away, and you're like, have a word with yourself.
Exactly. and that's back to what I was saying earlier, Paul, about be a genuine person, and people see that, and you will reap benefits over that, from that, definitely, hands down, 100%.
Last question for you, and I say this, it's normally to the American people, but you are part American now. Next time I speak to you, probably, hi, how you doing? High five.
I hope not. I'm not losing my Scottishness. Hopefully not.
And if you have a baseball cap and a check shirt, I'm not interviewing. I'm like that. And to be honest with you, it's a good job I didn't have a baseball cap and check shirt, because that's normally my attire at the moment. But quick question, what I normally say is Mount Rushmore is obviously a mountain, and carved in that mountain are 4 historical figures. If you could replace them with people that's inspired you and give you that, that big inspiration throughout your career to date, who would that be?
In terms of music,
You could be anybody.
Bruce Springsteen, 100%.
Yeah, I'll give you the chisel for that one.
Yeah, exactly. He's a big American figure in my eyes, and the global music scene as well. Luke Combs, surprisingly, I just think what he did for kind of country revival, brought it back into this modern thing and away from that boyfriend country sound.
Met him.
Did you? Yeah, superb. Yeah. Oh God, that's a hard one. Probably someone. I'm trying to think of one of my favorite songwriters at the moment. A guy called Brent Cobb. I don't know if you've heard of him.
I have heard of the name, yes.
Yeah. So he's one of my favorite writers. So probably either Brent Cobb or Jason Isbell. Jason Isbell is a phenomenal songwriter. And I'm not sure about the last one. Maybe it's something. Maybe my dad. I honestly think my dad's been a massive inspiration to.
I was going to say you got to throw in a parent in there.
Exactly. Are we getting told off?
Oh yes. I mean, there was one particular artist, can't remember now, and he just said, "I've got too many." He said, "Well, listen, you've got the chisel. You can put 6 or 7 in there." But no, that's great, and it tells. And normally, reason why I say that question, it tells me a little bit about the person as well, and you've got 2 songwriters in there. So that is a key part, I think, of your career, isn't it? Obviously, Bruce Springsteen I've never seen him live. I've missed him every time, but his new album is just phenomenal. But yeah, I mean, it's just, and Luke Combs, when he did 6 Feet Apart during the pandemic, I was like, melted me.
Yeah.
And I saw it on YouTube.
That with Brent Cobb.
That's where I know him from. Yes. Yeah. So, but again, just to summarize from where you are now, it's that, yes, there's a little bit of luck in there, but you've got to be in the right place. You've got to go to the places. You've got to surround yourself with the correct people, through trial and error, I would imagine. Good musicians, good songwriters, good management. And a lot of people forget about this. And I said this with Manny Blue last night. Publicists, they take away a lot of the groundwork in marketing, don't they? I mean, they reach out to people like ourselves or, everywhere else, and networking. Yeah.
I mean, it's all part of the job. And that's what a lot of people don't see when they think, oh, you're just a musician or a songwriter. There's a lot of negative stereotypes still to this day around that. But, it's all about networking. It's all about, as you said, trial and error. One thing for me is that you realize who you work well with together. So you're not going to write a good song with everyone. You might be sat there with a great songwriter, and you really want to write a good song, but you don't gel. And it takes you some time. And I've probably got 3 or 4 people that I now, if I've got an idea or I want to write with someone, I call them up and say, hey, let's get in a room together. And we will sometimes invite other people in. And that's where I love giving other people opportunities, because people have done that to me and helped me out moving forward. So I try and always, pay back and also pay forward for other people. I think that's a really big thing for me, because I've been welcomed here with open arms, and I'm really grateful for that. So if I could do that and help anyone else out, then,
that's a great attitude. That's brilliant. I like that paying forward. I love that. And I mean, one of my close friends, actually, I toured with him in 2014 and became a great friend of him, based in Nashville, just outside of Nashville now, is James House, amazing singer-songwriter. And he's wrote some amazing, songs for likes of Martina McBride, Dwight Yoakam and people like that, and he's been on the show several times, and he's always phoning me up. He said, I'm coming over. And I said, well, COVID's it. You can't come over. He said, come over. Will you support me and stuff? So I've done the sound for him. I've supported him and his management team as well. And I think, like say, songwriting is a great skill and art form away from singing, and it's having those ideas and putting them on paper and burning your soul as well. Oh, yeah. But I really appreciate you coming on, Chris, and I wish you so much good fortune in your career, and hopefully we'll get to meet and have a bevy.
hopefully soon. I think you can have a pint inside now, can't you? Back home?
I believe so. Yes. No, I have had one. No, actually, I actually went on my daughter gets married very, very shortly, and we went on part one of the groom's stag do, because we had to go to Liverpool for the suits. Getting all the fittings and measurements. So we said, "Oh, we'll make it a bit of a," but it was the first weekend of easing of restrictions. We couldn't get in anywhere apart from one place. It was, we were back for 6 o'clock because we went at 12. We were back at 6, but we're gonna have part 2 when we're going, because the main one is in Newcastle with a lot of his heavy metal friends, and I'm going, I'm out of it. No.
There'll be a few sore heads there, Paul.
And they've rented a house, and I'm thinking the sort of deposit bond that you have to put down, I think that'll be gone, to be honest with you. So I'm like,
I can't see you getting that back.
A bit older and wiser. So we'll have part 2 in Liverpool. Hopefully we can have a few more bevies and that. But no, thank you so much for your time. And as I said, enjoy the day and the rest of the week. You got some gigs lined up, I believe, on your website as well.
Yeah,
like residents, aren't you there? Yeah.
A busy week. So but thanks very much for having me, Paul. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, and we'll play a lot more of the EP during the course of the evening as well. But you take care, mate, and look after yourself, and the same to your family.
Cheers. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Cheers.